please now have City Clerk Beth Davis to please call the roll.
Commissioner Jeff Sanford.
Here.
Commissioner Sharon Neesmith. Here. Mayor Tom Watson.
Here.
Commissioner Curtis Maglinger.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bob Glenn.
Here.
You want me to say it so I can hear it better on that thing? Okay. At this time, we're going to ask Mayor Pro Tem Bob Glenn to do the invocation and the pledge.
Bow with me in silent meditation or prayer, as is your custom. Dear Heavenly Father, we come together tonight to conduct the people's business in the people's house. But Lord, we look to worldly concerns. We ask for peace throughout the world in places like Ukraine and Gaza. We ask for an end to hostilities across our country, that we become more civil and loving to each other, regardless of what color or party we support. And in this chamber, we will do that, Lord, because we come together as people who love Owensboro and want to move this community forward. Lord, we'd ask for special protection upon all our public employees, our city employees. They do such great work. Protect our police, our fire, and our dispatch from harm, Lord, as they conduct the business of this community. And Lord, thank you for the blessings of living in this wonderful community with a thriving business environment and with wonderful neighborhoods and people who come together with one common goal, and that is to make this community the best it can be. So Lord, we thank you for all the blessings you provide. Help us make good decisions tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. And now, the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pro Tem. Next item on the agenda is presentations. Item 4A, the one and only Brian Howard, OMPC Executive Director. Please take the mic and state your name and address for the record.
Brian Howard, 200 East 3rd Street, right across the street. Thank you all for the opportunity to provide a little bit of background information on accessory dwelling units. Over the years, as conversations have been had about housing and housing types and housing opportunities within the community, accessory dwelling units is always a topic that comes up, and I've had conversations with the city manager and others about what the potential would look like in the community to do accessory dwelling units. So the city manager asked that we do some research. So we've looked at what other communities across the state of Kentucky and then on a larger scale nationally have done in regards to accessory dwelling units. And so tonight is really just an introduction, really, hopefully get the conversation going. If it's something that the city would like to approach as far as as a housing alternative within the community, we as the planning staff can certainly move forward with any type of amendments to the text of the zoning ordinance that you all adopt and look at those. So I'm sure most of you know what an accessory dwelling unit is, but an accessory dwelling unit is a smaller secondary residential unit that's on the same property with a primary residential unit. So it has a completely self-contained unit. It has all the facilities, living space, bedroom space, bathroom, kitchen. It has everything that you would need to live contained within a smaller unit on the same property. So there are several different types of examples. You can see from the graphic, the 6 most common type, whether it's a detached structure, something that's attached to the side or the rear. You could have the above garage apartment, a basement that's converted for accessory dwelling unit purposes, maybe taking your attached garage and converting it, or in that last lower right example, maybe converting the upper floor of your residence to an accessory dwelling unit. So those are the main types. Probably some other creative ways that could be done, but this is a graphic that was generated by the American Planning Association, so incorporated here. Just to provide you some examples of what those look like in real life. So Fonzie had the studio above garage apartment on Happy Days, if you remember that. So a great picture with the whole Cunningham clan along with Fonzie, there in Fonzie's apartment. So I'm sure you all remember that. Will and Carlton there doing the Carlton dance from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They had a pool house or a guest house on the backside of the property. Hillary lived in it and whatnot, and then they weaseled their way in at one point. It was great. And then another example, if you ever watch Full House, Jesse and Becky lived in a converted upper level attic apartment within the Tanner household. So those are three examples from TV shows from my era, at least things I watch. Hopefully y'all know what those are, at least in some capacity. Well, I watch reruns. Happy Days are still on. I still watch reruns. You can't go wrong with Fonz. I could not. Some of you may not. I'm maybe the biggest Andy Griffith fan that you've ever met. There is not a single example of, in any capacity. Barney lived in Mrs. Mendlebright's, boarding house, but it just wasn't the same thing. So couldn't find an Andy Griffith example, but you're stuck with these. So anyway, so why are ADUs popular, and why have communities started looking at these going back to the time of the 50s and beyond when this was more prevalent? So it provides a potential income stream for the homeowner. A lot of people, the largest asset you have is your home, and so this provides a way that you could potentially utilize your home, your property, to generate some income. Some studies have shown, and you know how studies go, you could probably find some that say otherwise, but some of the research I've seen, an ADU can potentially increase your home value by 35% on resale. An ADU is an opportunity to match housing needs at any stage of life, whether it's your kids as they grow and maybe go away to college or don't, and they need a place to stay more independent than living inside the home. An ADU may be an opportunity there. Young folks, young married folks, young single folks, with or without kids, you could potentially utilize that as a more economical housing option than trying to rent an apartment or build a new home or buy your own home at this point. And then individuals that are in need of care, whether young or old, they would provide an opportunity for them to reside within the same property as maybe another family member, and maybe not need the nursing home or that other type of care, but it could be provided in a more home-like setting. It also increases, ADUs would increase housing density. So where you have infrastructure already available within the city, where you have urban densities, you have the streets, the sewer, the water, electricity, all the infrastructure that you would need in order to allow for the densification of that urban area. The potential exists, and that's a great benefit. And then more affordable construction or conversion cost, versus building a brand new single-family home. Not everybody can afford to build a new single-family home, but converting that garage or the attic or whatever it may be to an ADU may be more cost-effective than trying to build new. Now, at the same time, there can be some drawbacks. So it could change the character of the neighborhood. If you have an existing built-up neighborhood and ADUs start popping up, it could potentially change what the character of the neighborhood looks like. If you build a detached accessory dwelling unit, there's some loss of yard space or green space on that property potentially. Increase in traffic and parking needs. So you would assume that if you have another residential unit on the property, then you would have potential for the need for more parking. Is that going to be provided on site, or is that going to be on street parking? What's that look like? That type of thing. So something to think about. And of course, then tenant management and property maintenance are two other issues that, some people, if they don't take great care of their existing home and they have another unit, then from a property maintenance perspective, you may have two that you're dealing with instead of just one. So not to say that there aren't any negatives, but there are quite a few benefits as well to accessory dwelling units, and why, we as planners think that it's a worthy topic to at least explore at this point. So from our perspective and some of the research we've done, I've just included some regulatory considerations that, most communities that have gone down this path in Kentucky have addressed. One, what are the appropriate zones? Generally, we would look at single-family residential zones or zones that allow single-family homes, and then agricultural zones because single-family home is a permitted use in those zones. Limiting the number of ADUs, generally without fail, it's one. If you have a primary residence on the property, you can have one ADU. You can't have four, then you have an apartment building essentially. So limit it to one ADU. Limit the size of the accessory dwelling unit. So the goal, as indicated in the definition, is a smaller residential unit secondary to the primary residence. So, we're not talking, you've got a 1,500 square foot house and you build a 3,000 square foot, ADU. So there is scale that would come into play there. Some communities vary, 50% of the footprint of the primary structure, 75%. Some have gone smaller. It really varies, but, we threw out 50% just as a starting number. If it's a detached accessory dwelling unit, so maybe it's a tiny home that you want to locate in the rear or on your property, those would need to be to the side, in the side yard or the rear meeting setbacks. We wouldn't want to see a tiny home located forward of the principal residence. I think that, that would have a significant change in character and look of the neighborhood. And then if you have an attached accessory dwelling unit, maybe it's that attic or whatever, and you put exterior access, that would be on the side or rear as well. Again, not really altering the front facade, so looking at the front of the home, you would never know that it has more than one residential unit in it. And then these are the other bigger, larger scope questions that, we would certainly need input from not only you all, but the community as a whole as to how to approach some of these topics. Would the accessory dwelling unit be allowed by right? If your property is owned residential, you have a single family home on it, can you just come and get building permits and build it? Or would it require a conditional use permit, which would be a Board of Adjustment hearing? Neighbors are notified so that there is some, conversation then potential among neighbors as to whether or not it's appropriate in that area. That's a question communities across the state have handled in both ways. Already kind of mentioned the parking thing. A big one to us is whether owner occupancy is required. So in our research, some communities require that the property owner reside in either the main structure or the accessory dwelling unit. It can be either. Others don't. If it is a requirement that the owner reside on the property, and I think from a lot of perspectives that's a good thing, enforcement on that is key. When the accessory dwelling unit is initially established, I think it would be easy to determine, does that property owner live on this property? Yes. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the property's been sold 3 times. How do you enforce that? Louisville has that in their requirements. One of my best friends is a planning director. I asked him, how do you all enforce that? And he replied with the emoji of the arms, I don't know. They don't know how they're going to enforce it. It's newer there, but that's a key question. I know, like, our staff we don't have the capability to, police may not be the right word, but to attempt to track that as homes are sold, if they have an accessory dwelling unit, is it owner occupied or not? I don't know. We don't have the rights to go in and do that type of thing. And then the other thing that are there private neighborhood restrictions that would even prohibit an accessory dwelling unit from being constructed? If a conditional use permit is applied for, and that's the process, then part of the conditional use permit application is a letter from an attorney stating there are no private restrictions. If it's allowed by right, one of the questions would be, should we look at, or should the ordinance require that an attorney letter be provided that states that there are no private restrictions? Private restrictions go beyond any local zoning requirements. They're enforced by homeowner associations and those groups. We don't review or enforce those in any capacity. So those are a few of the larger scale issues that we would have to, work through, not only from our staff perspective, but with you all in the community, if it's deemed that this is even something that you all want to explore. If it is, we're more than happy to have further conversations and discuss. That's our brief overview and starting point, starting discussion for accessory dwelling units. Of course, be glad to answer any questions that you all may have. Melissa Evans with our staff is here. She's the one that's done the research, so she can answer if you have any specific questions about communities we've looked at and that type of thing.
So I don't think this is a terrible idea on its surface, but my concern is I could see somebody wanting to do this basically to run an Airbnb or a Verbo property. What has been the experience of other cities in doing that? In other words, have a lot of people build these just basically because they want the extra income by virtue of turning it into an Airbnb? Because we've had a terrible time collecting taxes from what you haven't been from Airbnbs and Verbos already in our community, or even identifying it exists.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that's a common thing, that you would put one of these in and some people would rent them out. Communities like Louisville also have a very robust Airbnb and type ordinances that they regulate very heavily. So if that's a concern, that, you know, it may be that regulating those in some capacity need to be looked at as well. But I think it would be definitely possible that an ADU would be used for rental.
I would just say that if we go to the point of the consensus is that this is doable, do you think that it will really address the issue that I think it's really designed to address, which is the lack of affordable housing in Owensboro and pretty much throughout the Commonwealth? Do you think is that what communities are finding is it helps address the affordable housing issue?
I would say from what I know and what I've seen, it doesn't hurt. Because the more housing stock you have available, the more opportunities there are to find affordable housing. But the more rentals you have and the more, if they turn into more short-term rentals, then it may not have a huge impact. And again, that's why I want, you know, this isn't something that our office is saying you all need to do. This is a larger community scale issue that needs to be discussed, and whether the community as a whole feels like this is the right thing to do, and it may not. Doesn't hurt to have the conversation, though.
And you meant, last thing, you mentioned tiny houses could fit in this rubric of an ADU.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, certainly.
All right, thank you, Brian.
Well, and to that point, Louisville actually hired an architect through a grant. They hired an architectural firm. They prepared drawings that there are like 80 ways you can customize this tiny home building plan, and you can come into their office and get approval on the spot, essentially, because it's already been designed, engineered, and it's a very easy process. So, but yeah, that's certainly a very distinct possibility.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Commissioner Sanford?
Brian, what other communities in Kentucky, you don't have to name them all, that we would know are doing this?
Okay, so Melissa, jump in if I think. So we looked at Louisville's doing it, Paducah's doing it, Bowling Green, Lexington, and Oldham County are the main ones that we looked at, that we know are doing them, and we looked at their regulations.
All right, that's all. Thank you.
Brian, do you work in conjunction with homeowners association? Like, where's the balance there sometimes when the homeowners association says, you know, you can't have a detached garage, but then all of a sudden you come home and they're building an attached garage? Is that something they can do to come to you, or how does that work?
Yeah, if there are private restrictions in a neighborhood that say you can't have a detached garage, or they say that your accessory building has to be brick or mimic the materials of the principal structure, those are beyond the scope of anything our office does. That's up to the homeowner association to enforce. My understanding is most of them have some mechanism to review that type of thing, but we don't get involved in that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody
sir.
else? Melissa, you don't have anything to say? Oh, come on.
I thought she was the Google. I thought any question we had, we
Yeah.
just, she'd pop up. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks, sir.
Be glad to answer any questions as if you want to move forward or not. It's fine. Thank you all very much.
Can I ask something on that or no? Can I ask something about that topic or no?
In the comments afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if
Okay. Boss says you can.
Okay, so I just wanted to say, as a homeowner, that sounds like a great idea right there, to be able to have the ability to do an ADU unit. So, but on the other end, I was wondering, because you mentioned taxes, Commissioner Glenn, why are we taxing a homeowner for renting an Airbnb if they already pay taxes on their property anyway? I was wondering that. Well, I live in the city and I pay taxes to county and city. So why would a homeowner be taxed? Where does that tax go to if we're already, I feel like it's a double tax.
I call on city manager and they pay.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's basically an occupancy tax, and it's to level the playing field with hotels, right? So there's if
Okay.
you go to, say, in Louisville, you probably have a pretty hefty tax bill on a hotel. So you typically see those on the back of the door or on your bill. And so whenever Airbnb sprang up, I think hotels felt like they were sort of disadvantaged because they were a competitor. And so hotels wanted that tax to apply to similarly short-term rentals. So it doesn't apply if it's an apartment and you rent it for 30 days or more, it's not subject to that tax according to state law. But if it's a short-term, what state law calls transient tax or a transient room tax, so if you stay in a place for 30 days or more, such as a hotel or Airbnb, you pay a short-term renter's tax essentially.
okay, how much is that tax? Just curious for Airbnb tax.
Well, it depends on the location. I think here we charge 3%.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I'm sorry, we charge 4%. I misspoke.
4% for the stay, 4% of the stay?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
You gonna short us on a tax dollar?
Well, we'd collect it, but I just misspoke.
If anybody cares, for every $100 you spend on a hotel here in town, you're gonna pay $17.42 tax total. Everybody gets theirs. Is that what you wanted to know, darling?
Of that, only 4% is the city. The rest of it goes to most of it goes to the state. The state sales tax and things of that nature.
Okay, that's what I was wondering, from a homeowner's perspective.
So you good?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda, purchasing department. Kaylin Fox. Sidekick Whitney.
I'm gonna move this. I'm too loud. Y'all don't want me to use that.
No, you need to use the mic.
Huh, I have to?
Yeah, because of the,
There, is that better? Am I good? Okay. Thank you all for having us today, me and Winnie. We appreciate it. So, as the mayor said, I am Kaylin. I'm the purchasing manager for the city of Owensboro. And today I'm going to go over a few procurement basics with you all. I promised Kevin DeRoss that I wouldn't take too much of your time, though, so we'll see how quickly I can get through this. So we're going to start with, basically the first thing to note is our org chart here. And so the purchasing department falls under the finance department. And so that means that Angela Waninger, who you all know, is our department head. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here today, but we wanted to show her little party hats and cake and everything because today is her birthday. So if you all get the chance this week, please wish her a happy birthday. And then my direct boss is in her place today, and that's Danae Galloway. And then Whitney, wave Whitney. She's our purchasing specialist, and she's been with us almost a year now in the purchasing role. So what is purchasing's role? And no, it's not to make the other departments' lives miserable. It's actually to make sure that the city meets Kentucky statutes, local laws, and any applicable federal laws in terms of procuring goods and services. And then we also want to make sure that we are being transparent and fair for everyone involved, whether it's our citizens, vendors, departments, everybody. And then, so to help us guide us in compliance, the city has adopted the state's local model procurement code, and that's KRS 45A 343 through 460. So if you're ever in need of some light reading, by all means, check that out. And the KRS addresses things like advertising, competitive bidding, and disposition of surplus property. The blue table that you see, it represents a summary of the purchasing requirements that the departments have to follow before they can make a purchase. And these rules are triggered by planned fiscal year spend. So for example, anything that's less than $5,000, that's at the department's discretion to use whomever, vendor that they see fit. Anything between $5,000 and $40,000, that requires 3 quotes and purchasing approval. And then, of course, anything over $40,000, that must go through a formal bid process. And to break that down a little further, so we'll go over small purchases first. So again, like the last slide showed, purchases between $5,000 and $40,000, that's considered a small purchase. And the departments are required to obtain 3 written quotes and then complete a summary procurement form. And that example is what you see on the screen as well. And then the departments are expected to enter a purchase order in our ERP system for purchasing's review and approval. And then once we approve, we send that out to the vendors. And in the last fiscal year, 464 POs were completed. And then there's the formal bid process. So again, as that first table showed, those are purchases over $40,000. There are 2 main types of bid processes. The first one's requests for sealed bids. Those are based on price only. And then there's requests for proposals, which are based on price and other scored factors like experience, like vendor's approach and references and things like that. And this last fiscal year, we completed 32 requests for bids and 9 requests for proposals. And one thing that I would like to mention that has really helped purchasing, streamline our processes is a new purchasing software called Bonfire. And the system allows us to track intake forms, create project templates, collaborate on editing, and simplify approvals. So we're really enjoying that. And then there's cooperative contracts. So in lieu of the formal bid process and even our small purchase procedures that are normally required, departments can use what we call cooperative contracts, and what allows us to do that is KRS 45A 300. And some examples of these contracts are the Kentucky State Master Agreement, national contracts such as Sourcewell and Omnia Partners, and then there's various others as well. These contracts were competitively bid by other public agencies, so that's why we can piggyback off of those in lieu of our own bid process. And last year, we estimate that we completed roughly 20 cooperative contracts. And so why is all this important? Number one, it keeps our auditors happy, which keeps our bosses happy, which keeps us happy. And but most importantly, these steps ensure value for taxpayer dollars and promote competition, transparency, and fairness for all parties throughout our procurement process. And then we just wanted to show some examples, real life examples of projects that we are involved in the beginning stages. And so these are the fire stations and the fire training center, and then various public events, the website redesign, and the bridge lights. And obviously that's just a few. As I said earlier, we have typically over 40 bids a year and things like that. So we're involved in a lot of things. And then, of course, finally, purchasing is also in charge of the disposition of surplus and confiscated items, generally through a local live auction or online auctions. So you all probably see advertised every year. We have an annual auction with Kurtz, which is a live auction at the Sports Center. And that particular auction will include things like vehicles, mowers, tractors, and other heavy equipment. And we just completed this year's auction a couple weeks ago, and the city earned about $120,500 from that. And then we also have online auctions, and we typically try to do at least 2 a year through a third-party website called GovDeals. And through that website, we'll sell things like tools, TVs, furniture, specialized vehicles, and equipment as well. And those proceeds, we earned about $70,000. So, and the last thing I have is a little commissioner quiz for you all to see who all has been paying attention today.
I've
So
got to go
it's,
to the restroom out.
Can we phone a friend?
no, not this time. But so basically, I'll read the question and then I'll let you all shout out the answer, and then we'll see who's right. So the question is, Public Works wants to replace the HVAC at the sports center and estimates the cost to be $41,000. What procurement rules do they have to follow? A, none. They can choose whatever vendor they want. B, obtain 3 quotes. Or C, follow the formal bid process. Anybody? I heard one. C, let's see. C it is. So you got it right. All right, and that's the quick version. So any questions?
Can I buy stuff now?
Absolutely, 100%. Any questions? No? She can talk now if you want. Any questions?
Okay, I've got one. So the online
Yes.
bidding.
Yes.
You said you sold TVs and stuff like that. Do you ever sell vehicles during the online purchase? I know they do during the Kurtz
We
option.
will. Typically, that's going to be specialized vehicles like a sanitation truck that we feel like sells better online. And then sometimes if we have like one-off vehicles, like the majority were sold at the live auction, but we have a extra police car that we just decommissioned or something like that after the fact. Then we would also sell that online too. So it just kind of depends on the situation.
And it's like twice a year you do it?
Typically, yes, but now if OPD calls us and they say, look, we've got a lot of items in storage, and we've already completed 2, we would still go ahead and probably complete a 3rd for them and go ahead and offload those items.
Okay, I hate to keep going. This is my last question.
You're fine.
What are we gonna do eventually with all the hail damaged, like police vehicles that we have? I know they're driving them around now, but I would think at some point there's gonna be a grand desire to get rid of those.
Correct.
Are they sellable, I guess is my question.
So I will let Public Works chime in as well to this answer. Now,
Sorry.
for what we've completed so far, we went through, I guess, one set of vehicles, and we determined whether or not that they were going to be a total loss, and if they were, then we were going to let the insurance company take care of those. And so those did not go to auction. And then we just took the rest that weren't considered total vehicles. And then I think we do have another large set, probably hail damage, right? That's going to be coming up this next year. And do you know, are the majority going to be totaled, or we don't know? Okay.
We're not sure. Okay.
So, yeah,
'Cause
so-
it would seem like if they were eligible, you could sell them at the auction.
That's
which
right,
would be
and
great,
yes, and so that's our 2 options. We'll either total them, or they're going to go in the auction to be sold. Yep,
Great. Thank you so much, and
Thank
thank
you
you
all.
for all your hard work with me.
we
your
appreciate
help.
it. Thank you.
And tonight.
All right. All right, thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda, city project list update. City Manager Nate Pagan.
Thank you, Mayor. The project list has been in your packet for review. Really nothing in particular I'll emphasize this month, just to say that everything is moving as expected, so no major hiccups. Everything is progressing, moving on schedule, so happy to answer any other questions should you have them.
Good update. Anybody have any questions? Okay, moving right along. Item 5A, consider approval of minutes dated August the 5th, 2025. I'll make a motion to approve these minutes. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion, deletions, or additions? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Consider board appointments for Alliance for Drug-Free Owensboro and Davis County. Reappoint Rebecca Horn as a joint city-county appointment to a 3-year term effective September 1st, 2025. Appoint Brooke Arnold to a 3-year term effective September the 1st, 2025. Any discussion? I'll make a motion to approve these. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Now, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, municipal orders. Ms. Davis.
Municipal Order 14-2025, A municipal order adopting a revised sidewalk policy and construction and maintenance plan, read for approval on one reading this 19th day of August 2025.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to approve this municipal order. Somebody make a motion, please.
Motion?
Could I have a second?
Second.
City manager, please discuss this.
I'm happy to, Mayor. So this municipal order amends the city's sidewalk policy. Currently, the city's primary method for sidewalk repair and replacement is to address one neighborhood alliance at a time. We prioritize one neighborhood alliance, resolve all sidewalk issues in that particular area, and then rotate on to the next neighborhood alliance. Under the current policy, when a sidewalk repair request is received outside of that prioritized neighborhood alliance, the city allows a cost-share partnership. The resident can hire a contractor and pays for the labor, and the city will cover the concrete and the materials in that partnership. This typically results in an approximate 20% city and 80% resident cost share. However, very few residents take us up on this program at the time. So the proposed revision will have the city perform the repairs using a city contractor with the resident paying an agreed upon percentage of the cost. The sidewalk committee would establish that cost annually based on funding availability, but it's anticipated to be more advantageous, potentially a 50-50 split or even better, so the city paying the lion's share of the cost. And by using the city contractor, the burden of hiring and managing the contractor is removed from the resident and is placed on the city. And of course, we have people who do that all the time, so it's much more natural for us to do that as well. So we hope that this change would encourage greater participation in the cost share program and further improve sidewalk conditions throughout the city.
Any other discussion?
See, I just had one question, if I may.
Sure.
So will we hire a universal contractor to do any type of work, like let's say sidewalks or,
And
or
we do
will
that
we
now.
hire an individuated one for each project?
We generally do that now, do service bids, so a contractor will get the bid and do all concrete or all sidewalk for us for a 2 or 3 year period typically. That's one of those bids that Kaylin was talking about in the last presentation. Do we bid sidewalks every 2 or 3 years, I believe? And so, but then they would do the majority of the work after the bid is awarded.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6B, please.
Municipal Order 15-2025, a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an easement agreement between the City of Owensboro and Regional Water Resource Agency, granting a perpetual easement for the purpose of constructing, operating, maintaining, and reconstructing a sewer line across a portion of property located on Carter Road, read for approval on one reading this 19th day of August 2025.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City manager, please.
Yes, sir, Mayor. The city clerk just read this municipal order approves a permanent sewer easement with RWRA on the York Basin property along Carter Road. I'm sure you all remember the basin we just built over the last couple of years there on Carter to serve that area. Staff have reviewed and determined that it will not negatively impact our property.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 6C, please.
Municipal Order 16-2025, a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a real estate purchase agreement for the acquisition of property located on West Parish Avenue containing 73.372 acres, more or less, read for approval on one reading this 19th day of August 2025.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve this. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City manager, please.
Yes, Mayor, I do think we have an exhibit for this item as well. There we go.
Can help you with that.
There we go. Earlier this week, we announced the purchase of the Massey site for future economic development. As you can see on the screen, the property in question is outlined in yellow. Mayor, City Commissioners, you've made economic development a priority, and this is a major investment to represent a significant milestone in advancing that vision. In 2023, the city engaged a consultant to review potential industrial sites across the county and identify those best positioned for future growth. The Massey site ranked in the top tier of sites evaluated, confirming its long-term potential for attracting jobs and investment to our community. Our current industrial park, as we all know, is the Air Park, and while it still has some land available, but that supply is quickly diminishing. 3 companies currently hold options or purchase agreements to acquire the majority of the remaining acreage. So the Massey property will be essential to meeting future demand in the community. Importantly, this purchase has been part of our long-term planning. We have been setting aside funds in advance, so while the Massey purchase is a sizable investment, it will not impact the city's general fund, which is our primary operating fund. This acquisition has been years in the making with savings and the research. Brad Davis is the Vice President of Business Development for the Economic Development Corporation and has worked diligently on this project for the past 2 years. Brad is here. I want to thank him for his work, along with Claude Bacon and the entire EDC team for being such strong and collaborative partners over this process to bring this opportunity to reality. And then I would note this is actually the first, this item and the next item were actually related to the Massey purchase. It is 2 different parcels that combined are approximately 121 acres. I think this one was 73, the next one is 48 or so. So really these comments apply both for this item and the next item. But again, you can see there the property, 121 acres approximately. It has good frontage on West Parish or Highway 81, which is 4-lane access to the bypass. So it does have good proximity, good visibility, and so we hope it will do well for us for the next few years for our economic development efforts.
Okay, what did we pay for it?
The purchase price is $38,500 per acre, which is a good deal. It actually appraised at $41,022, so we're paying below the appraised value. And again, we have the funding available and ready for this, so we do not have to issue debt for this purchase. And it is not being funded from the general fund. We have a designated economic development fund that we've been saving in. The money is there and available, so it will not impact our ability to provide police or fire or parks or public works or any of the other important services that we do, because the money is there and actually will be appropriated later in the meeting in the budget amendment, actually.
Okay, will we consider subdividing it?
I think that is to be determined, and Brad, feel free to jump in. We're just out acquiring the site, so it's not really fully developed, so we'll have to do infrastructure and utilities and streets. And I think that's flexible. It could be that it's 4 or 5 different sites of 20 or 30 acres each, but if a tenant comes in and wants 50 or 60 acres and they have the jobs that warrant that, we're happy to accommodate that as well. So I think there's a degree of flexibility at this point, depending on the initial tenants in the park.
Okay.
Brad, anything you'd like to add on behalf of EDC or?
Besides thanking the city for considering this, and I would say, just add that there has been a considerable amount of due diligence done on this property as well. We've done a phase 1 environmental. There's been a site intelligence report.
Turn your mic on.
Oh, oh, sorry.
Abby to the rescue.
As I say, there's been a considerable amount of due diligence done on the site, so it really is, just as soon as the purchase is completed, ready for development. And I'm happy to answer any other questions y'all might have. So, thank you.
So how long has it been on the market? I mean, why hasn't it sold before now?
Actually, we've had options. We've had options on it since, I believe, 2022.
Okay.
So we've gone through a couple of different options and stuff with them. So.
All right. Thank you, Brad. Any other discussion?
Well, I have a quick question. It'll be for you. I have a quick question.
Sure.
So I know you can't disclose anything, but in obviously getting this property, do you feel confident that we have some potential prospects that will begin the process of using it?
I will say, we have submitted it on several projects, previously through the years. The site consultants that actually do the Kentucky Product Development Initiative, they've been on the property twice. They're very supportive of the project, and as Nate said, it ranked very high when we had our site evaluation done in the entire county. So yeah, I think it's a very desirable site. The transportation access is really well. Utilities are close by, so they'll be easy for a project and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
and I'll be right down the street from a Publix, so I mean, what else?
Yeah, that
could you
too,
ask
yeah.
for? Right, exactly. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Brad.
Commissioner Sanford.
Just a couple comments. In my opinion, I think this is a really big deal for the community. It's on the west side, and I think there's a lot of stuff going to the west side, and a lot of times you hear in the community everything's going east. But this is a long-term play. It's not like we're going to buy this and there's going to be someone there tomorrow. This is an investment for the future. And in my opinion, this is a very big deal, and this is the kind of thing that we need to be doing, and we are doing. And I appreciate all the work that the staff has done and you guys have done to bring this into fruition. And you know, you have to have the property before the people will actually come and actually make a decision to move to Owensboro. They're just not going to go, let's go to Owensboro. Oh, where are we going to go? Well, you have to have something. So now we have something to sell to people. So this is great in my opinion, and bringing opportunity for the future is that's kind of why we're all here. You know, it's not going to happen really fast, but in time, this is going to be something that we'll look back on when probably none of us are here, and this is going to be a big deal for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Have we voted yet? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6D, please.
Municipal Order 17-2025, a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a real estate purchase agreement for the acquisition of property located on West Parish Avenue containing 48.233 acres more or less. Read for approval on one reading this 19th day of August 2025.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City manager.
And again, this is the same as the
Carry
last,
on.
just two different property owners, so approval is necessary for both particular property owners.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 6E, please.
Municipal Order 18-2025, a municipal order authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an application for a local assistance road program grant through the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Department of Rural and Municipal Aid, in the approximate amount of $2,220,000, the proceeds of which will be utilized by the City of Owensboro to resurface city streets. A 25% match of $555,000 is required by the city. Read for approval on one reading this 19th day of August 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
City manager, not much to say about this,
Well,
is
Mayor,
there?
just to say that the last item was one of your priorities in economic development, another priority is infrastructure. And so this is a grant application for $2.2 million to do additional road resurfacing. So we're happy to bring this forward. The grant does have a 25% match, but we have funds budgeted for resurfacing, which would satisfy the match.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 6F, please.
Municipal Order 19-2025, a municipal order of the City of Owensboro, Kentucky, preliminarily approving an industrial revenue bond financing for Can America, Inc., or any affiliate thereof or entity related thereto, authorizing initiation of the acquisition, construction, equipping, and installation of a qualifying project, agreeing to issue industrial revenue bonds at the appropriate time, authorizing the execution and delivery of a memorandum of agreement and a payment in lieu of taxes agreement in connection with the issuance of the bonds, and taking other preliminary actions. Read for approval on one reading this 19th day of August 2025.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve this municipal order. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City manager, I can't remember the last time we did a revenue bond.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an atypical structure for us, but back in March, Ms. Khan held a groundbreaking for an expansion of their Owensboro facility. At the time, the project was estimated to involve a $156 million investment and create 44 new jobs. This municipal order provides preliminary approval for an industrial revenue bond to support that Ms. Khan expansion. Essentially, the bonds function as a property tax incentive for the project. Under this arrangement, the city will technically own the property on which the expansion will sit, thereby making it tax exempt because the city owns it. However, Ms. Khan will make payments to the various taxing districts at a negotiated reduced rate. And so specifically, we've negotiated a 75% property tax rebate for 10 years. So because they get a 75% discount, essentially, they would pay to us 25% of the property tax they would fully owe if they owned the property and it was taxable. The school system, however, will receive the full amount, so they're made whole. This is a slightly different structure than a typical incentive that we do, but it achieves the same goal, right? We typically do a property tax rebate. This is just more of an abatement on the front end. So instead of them paying and then rebating a portion, it's abated on the front end. And then it also does apply to the other taxing districts as well, other than the school district who is made whole. So this municipal order provides preliminary approval, and a similar item will appear on an upcoming agenda to finalize the incentive. As May referenced, we've not done an industrial revenue bond here in quite a while. They were popular or more common back in the past when Dart Polymers located in Owensboro in the 70s. I know they did an IRB when within Scott Paper, now Kimberly Clark, came to the county in the early 90s. They did an industrial revenue bond, but we have had 2 or 3 projects more recently that have talked about them. So not anything we've done in the recent past, but obviously have done it in the distant past. So again, it's essentially what we've done before in a different format, and we're happy to support MISCON and their continued investment and employment in the community.
Did they give us a drop dead date of when they think it'll be completed?
I do not know, Brad, if you have an update. They're still working on the
We were out there
design
and
things.
They're actually still kind of working through the construction layout and everything. They're hoping to start this fall, but I don't know that that's written in stone, and I think they were talking 18 months or so after that. So we should know later in the fall a more finite, time frame, so.
Thanks, Brad.
Sure.
Okay. Motion. I'll make a motion to approve this municipal order. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any other discussion? The deletions or additions? None, hearing none. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, ordinance second reading. There will be a roll call vote.
Ordinance 11-2025, an ordinance amending the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026, and amending ordinance 6-2025 to revise beginning fund balances, carry over appropriations for all outstanding encumbrances, capital projects, and rebudget funds. Read for approval on second reading this 19th day of August, 2025.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Could I have a second, please?
Second.
City Manager?
Second reading of a budget amendment. This is a fairly standard amendment that we do early in every fiscal year. Primarily, it accounts for projects ongoing on June 30th when the prior fiscal year ended. So from that perspective, you are basically reappropriating items that were approved in the last budget that just weren't completed. There is one primary new item, which is a cybersecurity purchase for Central Dispatch. However, funds are available in the dispatch fund balance, so no additional funding is necessary for that project.
Thanks, sir. Roll call.
Commissioner Sanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Neesmith,
Yes.
Mayor Watson,
Yes,
Commissioner Maglinger,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Glenn.
Yes.
thank you. We'll go to item 8, ordinance first reading. There will be no vote.
Ordinance 12-2025, an ordinance amending the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026, and amending ordinance 6-2025 to receive and appropriate funds from River City Pickleball and to appropriate funds for a land purchase, introduced and publicly read on first reading this 19th day of August, 2025.
Thank you. City Manager, please.
Yes, this is first reading of a different budget amendment, so it's completely separate than the budget amendment that you just voted on. And this amendment has 2 components. One is to appropriate funds for the purchase of the Massey property that you approved earlier in the meeting. As I referenced at that time, we have been saving for an acquisition or purchase of industrial property, so their funds are available in the Economic Development Fund. As a purchase from the Economic Development Fund, there will be no impact on the general fund, so no impact on our main operating fund. So in addition to funds for the Massey property, the second component of this budget amendment is to incorporate into the budget the donation for the River City Pickleball Club. Our agreement with the club requires them to contribute $500,000 to the project. And so as construction is drawing near, we need to add that revenue because we'll have offsetting expenses once construction begins.
Okay, everybody all right with that? Okay, we'll go to item 8B, please.
Ordinance 13-2025, an ordinance imposing a temporary moratorium on certain categories of group housing and facilities in Owensboro, introduced and publicly read on first reading this 19th day of August, 2025.
Thank you, City Manager.
And actually, Mayor, on this one, I'll defer to the city attorney who will brief you on this item.
Oh, wake up down there.
I'm awake.
All right.
If you'll recall, I think it was December of 2024, you all received some public input at a meeting from members of the Northwest Neighborhood Alliance area, and they expressed concern about impact from homeless shelters in their neighborhood and requested that no additional shelters be allowed there. Several commissioners have also received comments from citizens at various times expressing concerns over additional drug rehabilitation facilities that have been located in the city. If passed, this moratorium ordinance would afford staff 12 months to gather data, review what other cities have done, consult with OMPC, and study whether any changes to the zoning ordinance are needed to address the concerns raised. The moratorium will not affect existing shelters or facilities in any way. It will only stop consideration of any new shelters or facilities during the 12-month moratorium. If changes are made to the zoning ordinance during the 12-month period, then the commissioners could terminate the moratorium at the time of any changes.
Thank you. Any of the commissioners have any questions about that? I think we've kind of beat that horse down a little bit. Okay, we'll go to item 9, city manager item.
Yes, Mayor. Up first is a financial report, and this week, Deputy Director of Finance and Support Services, Danae Galloway, will present the July financial report.
You're up, Danae.
Mayor and Commissioners, thank you for having me. In your packet were the July financial statements. My PowerPoint presentation is going to be just on July, which I'm lucky because first month of the year, it's year to date and month to date all in one package. My PowerPoint presentation is going to talk about the general fund activity for the month of July, the first month of the fiscal year, and you can refer to page 3 in your financial packet.
Danae, are we supposed to get this on the thingamajig?
It's not showing inside. It is on the screen out there.
Un momento, sabes quién.
Here we go. They got it.
Me no got it. You're teasing us.
Just on for a minute.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Let's hear it for Leland.
So the actual revenues for the month of July and year to date were $5,449,376, which were lower than budgeted revenues of $5,551,729 by $102,353. This is primarily to timing with the occupational withholding, license fee, and property tax collections. Slide number 2 addresses the the expenditure side of the house. The actual expenditures were $6,497,199, which were less than budgeted expenditures of $7,687,096 by $1,189,897. This is primarily due to timing in capital, supply, and outside service expenditures, and also savings in personnel services and expenditures. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Okay, I'll make a motion to file a financial report for audit. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Any questions? Bobby? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
For personnel appointments tonight, we have just a handful: Gregory Eatherly, probationary full-time, non-civil service appointment to bus driver with Public Works Transit, effective August 24th. Sydney Madison or Maddie Coleman, regular full-time, non-civil service appointment to communications digital coordinator with the administration department, effective August 25th. Tyler Grant and Wilson Dean Jenkins, regular full-time, Non-civil service appointment to fire driver engineer with the fire department effective August 25th. And Andrew Osborne, regular full-time non-civil service appointment to street manager with Public Works Street Department effective August 25th.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Anybody want to discuss these people? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Item 9C, city manager comments?
No other comments tonight.
Amen. Okay, this time I'll have communication from elected officials. Mayor Pro Tem.
Just two quick items. Attended the, as did Commissioner Maglinger, the ribbon cutting for Big Whiskey. As most of you know, that's that prime corner location that used to be Bar Louie. And so excited to see that space, another downtown business emerge. I actually went in there the other night and they were doing a land office business and the food quality was good. So I wish them well, obviously. I wish all our downtown businesses well, but particularly with that spot being empty for nearly 3 years. So that's exciting. The other is that attended a fundraiser for River Park. The fundraiser is not just for River Park, it is to fund their youth programming so that young people can attend theater and dance events there without incurring a charge for tickets. And that event was extremely successful. And then we also attended another event for the Bulwer Center, and that was also very exciting to attend. They raised over $280,000, so it's good to see that the care and concern that our citizens take to help those in need still is emergent. So that's all I've got. It's been a busy but fun week.
Commissioner Maglinger?
Thank you, Mayor. No comments this evening.
Commissioner Neesmith?
I just want to say the same. It's always good to see new business downtown, and just because of my other job with the hotel, it's nice to see additional restaurants and options for visitors and tourism. So great job there. I did get the opportunity to see a teaser that's coming out about the Illuminate event that the city's planning and Tim Ross is doing, and you'll see some more as the dates come on in October, but it's going to be pretty amazing. So it's really hard to follow up some of the things the city has done in the past with the air show and just the different things we've had, but this Illuminate will be significant. Of course, in my mind, nothing meets the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds, but you know, I'm a little partial there too. So just want to say thank you to everybody and let you know that we're still getting the comments from lots of visitors about how wonderful the city is, the downtown, and but more of the people, and that's something we need to not lose is our people and how we respect and have fun with the visitors who come to town. So thank you all for being nice, even though sometimes you may not want to be. Thank you.
Well, we've always said our people are our greatest asset by far. Mr. Sanford?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things I wanted to mention. You know, I've been here for a while and I've seen a lot of things going on and that we've done in the past, but I feel like right now I think we're on to hitting another really good stride if you start to think about what's going on here. You know, you just mentioned an expansion, Ms. Khan. We just announced a new industrial park. We have a hotel that's almost completed. Senior Citizen Center's finally getting done. Indoor sports facility. Publix, what do they know about Owensboro? They're going east and west. Some people don't have one, but now we're going to have two. So I think people see that Owensboro's got something going on, and you know, you can listen to the negative comments that people make out, but I really don't listen to those people or hang out with those type people because they have nothing going on. So we do, and I want to thank the staff and everybody up here for making all this stuff happen because you're just making this community strong, and most people that I talk to are proud of what you guys have accomplished. And I think by looking at some of the boards and things we've got planned, there's a lot more on the boards and things to be done. So I really think that we're catching fire again, and we couldn't have done it without the staff and all the other elected officials. So thank you guys for everything you've done. That's it.
Ditto. Okay. At this time, we'll move to open public forum. Members of the audience may address the Board of Commissioners on any matter of public concern that is not on the agenda. Comments are limited to issues within the scope and responsibility of the commission. Commission meetings are held to conduct city business for the benefit of Owensboro citizens and taxpayers. At this time, anyone who wishes to address the city commission, please make their way to the podium to be recognized. Speakers must state their name and address for the record of our wonderful clerk and limit their remarks to 3 minutes or less. Since the item's not on the agenda, no response is required from staff or the Board of Commissioners. Who's up first? Pam? Y'all won't believe this.
I'm Pam Bivens, 4127 Liberty Point. You have seen me up here a couple of times talking about a fundraiser for the museum that involved a quilt with your neckties. I brought that up here and showed it to you. It is now at the museum. They are in the planning process. At that time and a couple of other times, our illustrious mayor has mentioned his interest in having that quilt. That's not possible, so I have worked with the extras from the 700 plus neckties that were donated. And because I've known Mayor Watson for some time, and my husband and I consider him a personal friend, and I feel like as a gentleman who has done a great deal for our city, that perhaps he deserved a little something extra. And if I can ask my lovely assistant over here that helped me last time, Abby, I would like to present something to the mayor.
Is that cool or what? That is awesome. And this one's not for sale.
But you're welcome to make your contribution and your donation to the museum when that occasion arises. And this is for you to take home and do with it, or in your office or wherever you decide to take it.
Well, Barbara's watching at home. What do you think, Barb?
You know, he could rotate that and loan it out
Hello?
to each of us.
Hello?
Hello? No, Pam, that's great.
That
That's
is beautiful.
beautiful. Great work.
Thank you very much. You're too good to me.
Oh, you deserve it most.
Most of the time. Thank you. Okay. What does Barbara say? Awesome. Anybody else? Okay. At this time, I'll make a motion to enter into closed session under KRS 61.810 1K, in which federal or state law specifically requires to be conducted in privacy. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
There will be no business following the closed session. Okay.